Alright students, today I'm going to be showing you how to write a summary of an independent reading book. I'm going to do that through a demonstration that you've probably already seen. The first one we're going to take a look at is how to write a summary for a literature piece. A literature story is any story that's not nonfiction. It's like poems and any other prose that you might come across. So first of all, when you summarize a literary text, basically what you're going to do is briefly retell the story. You're going to briefly retell it. You're going to give the story details and events in your own words. I'm going to underline that own words a couple times because you really want to make sure that you're including your own words, not just regurgitating it. So here is the basics of what you need. You need to make sure you have this right here. You need to make sure that a good summary includes only important details, and it tells about the main characters, the setting, and important events, and the theme of the story. All right, so we know most of these. We know what characters are, the setting, and important events. The theme might be something that's kind of new. But that's pretty easy. Theme is just basically what is the story teaching you? Isn't it teaching you not to steal, not to cheat, those kinds of things, or to be a good person? Anything that's going to make you teach you a lesson, that's the theme. All right. So we're going to take a look here at an example. This story is called A Jacket in the Boot. My friend James moved here from England a year ago. One rainy day, his mother dropped him off at my house. He trudged in the door and took off his boots. Later, when he decided to go to the park, James couldn't find his jacket. Then he said, "Uh-oh, I think I left it in the boot." I looked at him, puzzled. Then I shrugged and picked up one of his boots to see if his jacket was stuffed inside it. James burst out laughing. "Ha ha 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 ha! Put that down, Dan," he said. "In England we call the trunk of a car a boot. That's where I left my jacket." This is how I learned that two people can speak the same language and still not understand each other. But mistakes are an important part of learning. Now I know that some words are used differently in England, and James is teaching me even more. And here is a summary of what could be possible for that story. So here it is. James and Dan decide to go to the park. James says that he left his jacket in the boot. Dan is confused. James, who is from England, explains that in England, a boot is the trunk of a car. The story shows that good lesson can be learned from mistakes. That a good lesson can be learned from mistakes. So you can see in this summary sentence, it tells in his own words, right? That's important. It's telling own words. It's telling the main characters. There's James, there's Dan. It tells the main event, which is Dan is confused. It tells what he learned, and then it has the theme right here. Good life lesson. What's that life lesson? That we can learn from our mistakes. So that would be a good summary sentence. So when you're writing yours, make sure that you're saying in your summary to us that you're giving the important details. You're talking about the main characters, the setting, important events, and the theme. All right. Now let's move on to the next one. You might find that you're going to get into a summary of a nonfiction text here. So let's explore that one. Sorry, I'm having a little difficulty there. There we go. So you can see here, this is a summary of an informational text. If you're reading a story that's full of information, then you want to make sure you know how to write a summary for that. So writers of informational text organize their information around main ideas and key details of the topic. So here's what we do. To summarize a text, briefly restate the main idea and key details about the topic. Only include details that are important. So that's basically the gist of it here, is to make sure that you tell the main idea, key details, and only include important parts. All right. And you can include other important information the reader should know, such as names, dates, or places if you'd like to, but usually that falls underneath that important information. So let's take a look at a story right here. This is Even the Toothbrush Has a History. So the history of toothbrush. Cool. This will be fun to read. Let's go ahead and take a look. The toothbrush has a history dating back thousands of years. Ancient Egyptians used toothbrushes made from the frayed ends of twigs. In the 1400s, the Chinese invented the first bristled toothbrush. The bristles were made from pig hairs attached to a bamboo handle. In 1938, the invention of the nylon led to a modern toothbrush made of soft bristles. These improvements led to today's toothbrush, which comes in all shapes and sizes. But the basic job of the tool has not changed much. The toothbrush is still used to keep our teeth healthy and clean. Hopefully you use your toothbrush. So again, in this one you want to make sure a summary text briefly restates the main idea. We know this is all about the history of a toothbrush, right? And key details. So then we'd include some of those cool things about the toothbrush that we had. So let's take a look. Here's the summary for this. Over thousands of years, materials used for toothbrushes to clean teeth have changed. It did talk about how it's all changing up here. Good. Ancient Egyptians used the frayed ends of twigs in toothbrushes. That was an example up in here too. Good. In the 1400s, the Chinese invented the first bristled toothbrush using pig hairs. Okay, that was up here too. Nice. In 1938, nylon was invented. Yep, that's up here. It was used to make toothbrushes with soft nylon bristles. Yeah, so this was all about history of the toothbrush, and in this down here, the author spent time talking about some of those important details that the history of the toothbrush went through. So when you're done with your reading, make sure you take a look. If you have an informational piece, you'll want to make sure you follow directions to go along with that, as well as the literature piece. If you read a literature story, you want to use those.